5 minutes out to talk about the conveyor belts because there is a bit of engineering behind this. As far as visuals are concerned, if we looked at the, let's get it centre. If we looked at the conveyor belt from the front, it will look something like this, and it'll sit on legs like that, and at each end there's a 3mm rod, and around that, behind this piece of wood, we've got a roller, a little bit more round than that, right? So you've got a roller each end. Now if we looked at this from the top, you've got two sides like this, so I'm not drawing the straightest line, right? So you've got two sides to your conveyor belt. There's your rollers on that end, on that end. I think it's going to need some nylon bushes in here, but anyway, your 3mm rod goes through the centre, but because these sides are wood and it's going to be freezer construction, it's going to be easy to make it out of wood. Obviously can't have a metal rod running through wood because eventually it's going to wear oval. So what we will do, this is a 3mm rod, so I will put a 3mm inside diameter phosphor bronze bush, 5mm across, and it's about 5mm in depth, the ones I've ordered, 3mm inside diameter on each side and for both ends. Right, so that's the bushing taken care of, and providing, this is my guess anyway, providing the distance between the end of that rod and the end of that rod is the same both sides, it should run straight and true. And that is providing we keep the rollers true as well, so they're going to need to be accurately drilled. Generally when you do that, you drill from the top and just square across to find your centre point. This rod will be fixed to the roller, so I have to rough it up, put some epoxy resin, or if I'm really lucky I might get a tight enough fit. Drop of super glue might do it. Right, so I need to power it. This end, well, it wouldn't matter which end I powered, but this end will be free rolling, that'll roll on its own. This one will be the driven one, so down here we'll have the motor. And if you look back at the earlier video, I think it's the first one I did, they're little 5-volt motors, and there's a gearbox on that end, G-box, and there's the motor. And to join these together you can buy 3mm couplings like that, with a little grub screw in the side of it. Yeah, I'll need to do that for freezer servicing. If I ever have to take the thing apart, I'd want to do that. Now obviously everything's got to be fixed together, so this can sit on a plinth all the way around, which encompasses the motor and the belt. So I've got to find a way of hiding that. That won't be a problem because I will make a little cupboard that fits over that, so it just looks like part of the factory. It obviously needs a 5-volt supply, so there'll be a fly lead come out. Like these old Victorian factories had these cast iron poles which held up the ceiling, and that's where I'm thinking of feeding me 5-volt supply through. If not, I could disguise it as hot water pipes, anything like that. But down here we'll need a plug-in connector, a 2-pin connector, tiny thing in the end. You can just plug this thing in, and this whole thing will be screwed down. So I have screws in strategic places, tiny ones. That will fix the whole thing on the floor. Yeah, and that should work, because from the front, when you've got your items going down the belt, let's imagine they're cakes just for simplicity. Got loads of cakes coming down the belt. They actually go round and underneath. So they are the same cakes essentially, just going round and round, driven by this slow turning 5-volt motor. Obviously from the front we don't really want to be seeing the cakes going underneath, so this side, at least front facing, will be deeper than the rear, so you won't be able to see the cakes underneath. I did have ideas actually of somebody under the belt eating cakes, but it might be a bit awkward. But what I'll probably do, because I've got 10 cats that I'm going to put in this factory, and I should probably put one underneath sniffing at a cake, whatever, you know, some poor moggy. Right, and there, a bit of a square cat. Anyway, that's kind of how I see the conveyor belts. Now, obviously, we don't want to be seeing the cakes going over the end, so these ends will be covered up in some way, like that. So you won't actually see where the cake's going. All you'll do is see them going past. A little bit like the conveyor belt on the Generation game. Cuddly toy. Yeah, so that's the construction in my conveyor belts. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't work, but, you know, there is an engineering aspect to this. I'll tell you what cost the money is all these bushes and little couplers. They do cost money because, of course, radio controlled cars, boats, things like that, they all use these type of couplings. So they do tend to charge you a premium. And I'm going to have to wait quite a while from them because I'm ordering them from abroad. So it could be a month before they get here. So I shall be somewhat delayed on that. When I make the sides from the conveyor belts, and bearing in mind I've got 5 of these to make, I will need to stack them all together and drill them all together. So everything is consistent. So even if I don't assemble each belt, all the relevant parts are the same for each belt. So that is how we're going to build the conveyor belt. And if you've got any thoughts about it, or something I may have missed, comments below. Yeah.